All right. Want me to start or you want to?
I think it's safe to begin. I'm watching the participant list to make sure we're not missing any commissioners. I know we've got.
Dieter should be getting on.
He's on.
Okay. All right. So at this time, I'm going to call the 2022 Parks and Recreation February's commission meeting to order. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I knew there was something I needed to do. One moment. Just a moment. I've got a video. I've got a video. Just a moment. Just a moment. It's so cute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job.
Okay, one moment now. I gotta stop sharing and unmute yourselves. Can you unmute yourself, Jerry? Yeah, here you go.
All right. At this time, I'm going to call for a roll call.
Okay, Chair Alcorn,
Present here.
Vice Chair Coladonato,
Here.
Commissioner Crawford.
Right here.
Thank you. Commissioner Diaz,
In saying that this
Here.
is not okay. And that it
Commissioner Finland,
Present.
Commissioner Goodman,
I'm here.
Commissioner Meyer,
I'm here.
Commissioner Moralia,
Here.
Commissioner Spellman. Double check. I don't see him yet. So Commissioner Spellman is the only one that does not appear to be here.
Okay. He might join us later. All right, can we get a report of the posting of the agenda?
The agenda was posted as required. It was, I don't know the date it's required to be posted, but it was required. It was posted as required.
Thank you very much. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from our previous meeting? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Thank you, Michael.
Second.
back to in-person instruction, but I just need to say we transitioned slowly.
Michael first, seconded by, who was it seconded by? Sorry.
Me,
And I think
Jody.
that there are still
Thank you,
some
Jody.
effects of-
All right, with the approval of the minutes, we're going to move on to correspondence.
You have to do a roll call.
All right, sorry about that. Approval of the minutes, let's do a roll call vote for
All
that.
right, everybody ready? Let's go quick. Chair Alcorn,
Present.
Vice Chair Coladonato.
Present.
We're doing approval of minutes.
Oh, yeah, I approve.
Commissioner Crawford. Commissioner Crawford, do you approve the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Diaz,
part of
Yes.
The idea that
Commissioner Finland,
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman,
Approved.
Commissioner Meyer,
Approved.
Commissioner Morelia.
Approved.
Commissioner Spellman's still here. Okay, the minutes are approved.
All right. All right, this part of the section is made up for correspondence, and our first section is going to be public comment. Do we have anybody in for public comment this time?
We do, let's see. This is a new technology for me, so we are going to go with Mary Barcelo. Correct, Mary, you wanted to go first before?
I'm ready.
Okay, you have 3 minutes and your time starts now.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Ellen, for inviting me to be on the ad hoc committee for pickleball. I'm a USA Pickleball Ambassador, and you guys have met with me many times since I moved here in 2018. I really appreciate your support. I'm running a big tournament at Demuth this Sunday. I'll be about 150 players if you want to come out and see how much interest there is. I'm an instructor for you, City of Palm Springs and Palm Desert, and our classes are full with waiting lists every week. So things are going great. I really just want to give a shout out to Janet Burns and Alex De Jesus for all their work helping me run the classes and all the hard work they do answering questions. Just give them a big, fist bump. They've done a great job. I want to thank Michael for running the meeting last week, facilitating pickleball being on an ad hoc committee or talking about possibilities of improvement for courts and our courts that are existing. And Johnny for having a chat with me afterwards and helping me, giving me some suggestions. And I want to thank you for the new bathrooms. That's just a huge step that we actually have some new bathrooms going in at Demuth. David and T Centaur and I will be glad to help in any way to help you get input from the players to help resolve the issues with the way to rotate, needs for improvement on facility and working with facilities management. So we're just here for you and just want to say thank you and let us know what you need.
Thank you, ma'am. You're muted.
Okay, next
Mary.
we have David Feltman. I'm going to allow him to talk
Okay, I unmuted
for
myself.
3 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to be brief. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Mary, for all of the well-deserved thank yous that were given to all these important people in our lives in Parks and Rec in the city. Just the one quick thing I want to say is we touched briefly in a couple of meetings on the lighting at Demuth. And it's the long haul that we're going to get the new pickleball courts, and we all seem to be rowing the boat in the same direction on that, which is deeply appreciated. But if we could also, like in parallel process, look at those lights in the, that would be a quick win. And I've heard from some of the council members that on the infrastructure strategy that they're putting in place and priorities, that they are looking for some quick wins. And I think the lights at the pickleball courts would be such a quick win. And without further ado, I will exit to give back as much of my time as I possibly can. Thank you very much for everything. Bye-bye.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. And then I don't see anyone else who has their hand raised for public comment, but we did receive an email and they asked that we read their email at the meeting. So I'm going to read it. It's from Peter Henson. It says, I seek an explanation as to why the signboard was removed other than it was not approved as your rules specifically referenced its use. It has been this way for years without issue. This is regarding the pickleball courts. The film materials placed in the excavated adjacent areas have been exacerbated. The grit have exacerbated the grit on the courts. The areas that appear to be dirty are in fact worn out. Take some water and a rag and wipe them and you will find the colored top surface is gone. Larger rocks are required. The tennis players gave up the Demuth courts as they understand that the attraction of a venue is the certainty of getting a game. That is why they seek more courts at Ruth Hardy, not elsewhere. The same holds true for pickleball. The new courts belong in the flat area opposite the existing, with the weight area remaining as is. Thank you, Peter Henson. And the other emails that we received were sent to you and will be all collaborated together or combined together.
Thank you. Pickleball's still a big subject in this city, as everybody knows right now. Hopefully here in the coming future, we can get all this resolved. At that point, since there's no other public comment, let's keep this meeting moving on. Is there any staff updates?
Yes, does Dawn, you want to give your report?
Sure. So regarding the 7 priority projects from the Parks and Rec Commission, I don't have an update on the audio in the pavilion. The ball field lighting is still on schedule to have the plans complete and ready to bid by the end of March. The playground surfacing, we've completed Desert Highland and Demuth playgrounds. And then now the contractor is working at Victoria Park. Currently, they are laying out the sand and they'll break out the concrete to put in new concrete around the new surfacing. They anticipate being complete at Victoria Park by March 28th. Other projects in the park, Desert Highland Park, we have the laser leveling of the ball field. Those bids open on Wednesday. We have a staff report going to City Council to authorize USA Shade for the shade structure behind that ball field. We have the restrooms going on in that park. Basically, we had one hiccup come up where the site of the new restrooms is actually lower than the street on Tramview. So the contractor is coming up with a fix for that. Basically, as the park goes towards the Whitewater River, it goes lower. So they pretty much have a solution. We just have to approve the change order. So that is moving along. The Demuth Park, the construction of the restrooms are continuing. We have the block wall project at the tennis pickleball courts and the wastewater treatment plant. We have submittals coming in. The tentative construction start date, we're going to give them a notice to proceed tentatively for March 28th. We're aware of a few pickleball tournaments that happen in March. So I think by starting on March 28th, we'll get past all of those tournaments. During construction, the back courts or the southern courts will be out of commission, but we'll still have the north 6 courts available for play. The swim center, we have a staff report going to the next city council meeting to authorize those shade structures at the swim center. And that looks like that completes my report. Any questions?
Thank you, Dawn. Any questions for Dawn, guys? As
Dawn,
always,
did you mention the Demuth gym, the HVAC project?
Oh yeah, I don't have my notes on the HVAC, but we are starting to put the new HVAC system at the Demuth Community Center. So that is a huge, huge win.
yeah, because we got new doors and everything in there too, huh? Doors and windows.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. Thank you as always, Dawn, being on top of everything.
Thank you.
Any other staff reports? I think Stacy's here if I saw her.
Mhm. Stacy's here in
Hey, I
the.
got a quick question for Dawn.
Sure.
Hey, Dawn?
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, did you say you were on track for the lighting for the ball fields?
Yes. So yeah, we're still on schedule.
Oh, good. Okay.
Cool. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Don. Appreciate it. Next staff report, whichever lady would like to go first.
Mine's quick and painless. Kind of to follow up what Don was saying, the electrical started in the gym of the Demuth this morning. Actually, access began over the weekend, but the work really started this morning, so that's all buttoned up. I've ordered 10 bottle fountain and doggy fountain combos for parks. So we'll put one in each of the parks. It's one of the 3-tiered systems. Part of that is coming out of sustainability, and part of that is coming out of funds that Jeannie found in Parks and Recreation budget. So that'll be exciting. We also have all but 2 of the trash cans replaced now in the dog park behind City Hall. And we're going to, as we go through those, and once all those are swapped out, we're going to start up at Demuth and start going through that as well. I am right now currently investigating some porous pavers as a possibility to remove the ground cover around not just the tennis courts and the pickleball courts, but also the basketball courts, to possibly create some type of leach fields as we've discussed over time. And that's really the big ones right now, where we're focused on some assessment districts, and we should all the basketball court hoops are all back up now. And I think we have one more delivery of one more swing, and we should have all of our exercise and playground equipment back up and running.
Cool. Thank you, Stacy. Appreciate it. You guys been putting 100% in, short staff, and running every which way. So we appreciate it. Thank you. As the whole city has. Any questions for Stacy?
Yeah, I have a comment. Stacy, I want to thank you for getting Alex and Tony involved with the fields. They've done a great job in the infield. Conserve needs to work on that outfield a little bit because of them gophers. It's unbelievable, especially on field 5 and field 7. But the infields, as a shortstop and just being out there all the time, it just looks wonderful. So thank you very much for getting your team out there to do what we need to be, that needed to be done. So I wanted to thank you for that. And a kudos to Tony for all the hard work he's been doing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You got it.
Can I ask you one quick question, Stacy? And this is just between, do you know whatever happened with that spider? Are they going to move it over? Reason I ask is because I know summer's coming up, and I'd like to make sure we have adequate bike parking for our kids there for summer.
The Arts Commission, I believe we're going to refurbish it. So let me reach out to them and see where that's at. If not, we can put up maybe a bike corral temporarily until they get what they need done. But I'll reach out and follow.
Thank you, Stacy. I'm just want to get ahead of it before summer. I appreciate that. I'm asking instead of the day of. So thank you.
Thank you.
Trying to pre-plan here. Awesome. Thank you, Stacy. Let's move on.
Hey, Chair, I just have a question for Stacy. And it's probably not a surprise and nothing new. I see it every year. Any thoughts around the dog park behind City Hall and the ground covering? I mean, it's been a fairly dry winter, but there's like no grass left, which we shouldn't be surprised. There never is this time of the year.
I fertilized again, and we've worked with the several different folks with the irrigation, and obviously we put in drains. We've even put in sod again. Have a magic fix other than we're hopefully going to get the grant to open the Demuth dog park and give that poor little park back there a little bit of a break.
Yeah, that grant, I think it's probably dead. It's been 3 years, and I don't know if there's anybody that's really working on that. The city did the city council voted to match that grant. So we know that they agreed to the 1.5 million. And I don't know what we need to do to mobilize the city to use the 1.5 million and just ditch the grant and just do something. I think it can go a long way. 1.5 million is a lot of money that can really make a difference in that park. But I mean, just as a taxpayer, I mean, really a taxpayer that we closed the park, you spent all that money, you're short-staffed, you know, you did what you needed to do, and it's only 2 months and there's no grass left. And you know, this is chronic. It happens every year. It's just such a waste of money. And people are okay with, you know, we surveyed it all. I mean, I don't really know how to move this forward, but any insights you might have would be really helpful.
You know, I think the best insight that I have is very similar to what when we were in the design phase of the new Demuth Park, is to, instead of making everything all turf, have, you know, sections of turf, sections of the areas that, you know, we can still exercise the dogs, yet, you know, give the ground cover a little bit of break. And I don't know if there is an interest in, you know, revamping the dog park again, as we just redid that 5 years ago, the City Hall dog park. And, you know, we've talked about expanding out that park a little bit, but, you know, that the fences, you know, it's art. So we would need to do that process first. And then, of course, you know, there are utilities over there by the sidewalk. And I'm not sure what square footage that would really give us. So, you know, honestly, a lot of it's going to come back to this group. Where would you, and, you know, and or council direction, where do we want to focus our time and attention and our funding?
So I'll send you the design, because we worked with Don, and then there was an architect who did a quick draft of what we thought, which would be a combination of ground coverage, and we did submit that City Hall to the City Council. So I'll send you a copy of that as well.
Right.
And so I really think that behind City Hall, if we could just change the ground covering so that we don't run into this, and then the Demuth Park really will help to alleviate that traffic, so we don't have to expand. So I'll send that over to you, but it's very interesting. We have a very assertive pickleball community. It's probably the same amount of people that visit the dog park are playing pickleball every day, but yet dog park doesn't seem to get mobilized. I mean, the volunteers are mobilized, but it doesn't seem to have an impact on the city the way pickleball is having an impact, and it's just a little confusing to me.
Understood.
Thank you, Stacy.
Makes sense. All right, moving on.
I have a report.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so hooray for us, all city facilities are open to indoor services now. And as of today, we have changed our masking requirements to only require masks for unvaccinated individuals. So we're still with our children's programs, we're still wearing masks, because day camps are considered to be like K through 12. And so the K through 12 schools are still under masking guidelines until March 11th. So we're gonna watch what the school does with that. Thursday City Council meeting, the council is now allowing fireworks permits to be issued by organizations through the SEPT program, the Special Events Planning Team. So fireworks will have to be of a quieter nature. That means the smaller tubes than those that are used at Veterans Day and the 4th of July. And then we're going to do a pilot program and purchase some air quality monitors and report back after the first year of monitoring to see if there is any impact in air quality. I want to share my screen because I've got some slides to show you. I'll go through it pretty quickly. Got it? You can see it? Great. We had the Palm Springs Black History Month caravan, and I heard that went really well. There were a lot of cars taking a tour of Palm Springs, and I think that's a great program. Let me get my slide going. We also had the Black History Parade and Town Fair. I know that was a very popular event this weekend, and we love that all the people come out for that. Now, I think you can see this. We've got, we'll talk about this on item number 3, but mark your calendars for Saturday, March 12th, and bring your shovel, and your gloves and help us plant some trees. So we'll talk a little bit about that. There is a training, a tree leader training. That's tomorrow night at 5:30. And you can watch this video or if you need the information, we'll get you the information on how to register for both the training and the actual event. We think this is going to be a great program, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. For those pickleball lovers, we have indoor pickleball. Just a reminder that, especially now that we're open, Duluth and James O'Jesse have indoor pickleball courts available. You can make your reservation, check out our website for more info or give us a call. We're starting up our archery program again. We've got one for ages 6 through 18, the novice level, and we have the intermediate level. So this is a really cute program, lots of fun. I want to be 18 again so I can go play at the archery. Something new, the Coachella Valley Firebirds have reached out to us, and we are going to do an intro to street hockey. This is a free clinic. This is happening on Wednesday. Ages 7 through 9 can come over from 2 to 3, and ages 10 through 13 can come over from 3 to 4. This is at Sunrise Park, and we'll have all of the supplies that you'll need. Again, this is a free program. We encourage children to come out and learn about street hockey. James O'Jesse is doing their First Fridays again, and this month in March is March Madness, and we're going to have some fun activities for families, so check that out. We've got our Come Ride With Us program again, second and fourth Fridays at 3 o'clock, all ages. I'm going to go through these quickly because you can see them on the YouTube. Kids fitness classes at James O'Jesse. We've got our drill team and drum squad. They are so happy to be back. Homework, maybe not so happy to be back. Homework at the park, knitting and sewing classes, our mature adult program, dance club, our youth encouragement program, and that's it. Stop sharing. And yes, I will send the flyers to the commissioners. That's a great idea, especially for those who work in schools. So that's my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions?
Amy, I have a question.
I have an answer to a
I bet you do.
Yes.
I bet you do. Is there, I think you mentioned it, you said that all these are on YouTube. Is there a dedicated space so that we could have a little bit more advanced notice on some of these things to sort of distribute them in our community? Or is it just a habit of the things coming to you guys last minute?
So this kind of came in last minute, but when I say YouTube, I mean that you could rewatch our meeting on the city's YouTube channel.
Okay.
If you go to, I'm just checking the website, our Parks and Recreation website, if you go to the City of Palm Springs, palmspringsca.gov, and then go to departments and find Parks and Recreation, you should be able to find some of these events listed there. A lot of them are on ActiveNet because they're member programs, but that's a great idea to share the flyers. I know we do a lot on social media, especially Instagram. So good point. The answer to the question you did not ask was, what about the director position? And where is the city on that? They did repost the position, and they have received new interest, and there have been several applicants, and so they are working through reviewing those applications right now. So I think in the coming weeks, in the next few weeks, they're going to select finalists for interview.
Good.
Thank you for putting up with me.
It's good. Any other questions? All right, thank all the staff. Appreciate it. At this point, we're gonna discussion and or action items, project updates, verbal reports is action item number 1. So do we got any project updates?
I think we pretty much handled it. The one thing that is happening, just, we talked about it for a split second about the Duluth Community Center. That project's going to be going on from now until sometime in June, probably. And so there may be times when we have to move classes to a different room, or we might actually have to have a little intermittent closure. We're going to try to avoid all of that, but they'll be adding new doors where doors don't exist. They're going to put in a hallway, which will make traffic flow better from the lobby, and replacing windows. So there could be some times when we may have to do some intermittent closures. We've already moved Pee Wee Rec over to the Leisure Center because we know their entire glass wall is going to get switched out. And so we just said move.
Smart.
Kind of what we're doing on project updates.
Awesome. All right, projects are moving along. So number 2, we have a presentation by the grassroots youth. Is she available?
Yes, just a moment. So let's see, Kay. I'm going to promote you to a panelist. So we've got Kay Butler here. Let's see if she can transfer. Here she comes. Kate, did you need access to, you have a slide, but I could show that if you want me to. Do you need to unmute yourself?
Okay. Okay, I see you. Do you see me?
No, you might have to start video, which is might be in the lower left of your screen. Where it says
Nope.
Start video.
Nope, there's nothing on here.
You on a phone or?
Let me push this up here.
It
says ask you to start your video. Okay.
Yeah, try that.
Oh, I did it. I can't believe it. Now can y'all see me?
Yes. And I can share my screen to show the little tennis grid that if you want me to.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Just a moment. There you go.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Kay.
Okay, thank you for having me. I'm here to see if we can stripe the tennis courts at Ruth Hardy Park, court number 7 and 8 for children. And this little coaster here that you are looking at will indicate the 3 sizes of tennis courts that are necessary for, to teach tennis. I teach tennis at Ruth Hardy. It's called Grassroots Junior Tennis. And we have all of the equipment, the balls, the rackets, everything for all different ages. We just don't have the court for the different ages. And it's just court 7 and 8, one where the backboard is. And I would like to apply for a USTA facilities improvement grant that will pay up to 50% of having these courts striped, up to $5,000. And so this would, help the city here. The lines that we put on, can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the lines that we're going to put on, the blended lines as they're called, are of a color that is either lighter or darker than the court surface and will be at least 3 inches away from the white lines of the regular tennis court. People can still play normal tennis on court 7 and 8. It's just that they will be lined for young kids. The orange one, the red one, which is the first one, is for kids 5 to 8 years old. And then the middle one, which is the orange one, which is just inside the regular big court, is for kids 9 to 10 years old. And then, of course, when you're 11, you can play on a full-size court. So I was just wondering if the parks might be interested in striping the courts for these kids, because the courts are for children, those last courts, but there's no way they can play on them because they're adult courts. So any comment?
So Ms. K, are you
Yes.
saying to make these courts more accessible for all and more inclusive for all? That's what I'm hearing right now.
More accessible for the young kids who are going to go out there and play, and the old and the grown-ups can still play on them too, because the lines are not going to be interfering like being on a gym court inside a gym where there's so many lines. These lines will be very, the kids will see them, the grown-ups won't.
Can I ask you one other question? Does your group, or do your players wear purple polo shirts? Is that what I saw out there one day?
No, we wear green shirts. In fact, let me show you. Here we go. I hope this stays up. Can you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
These are our colored shirts.
Maybe those are what I just saw. A whole group of young kids at Ruth Hardy, I think yesterday or the day before, practicing.
We're on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Now, last Tuesday, we did take a photo for the kids to send to the USTA to show that we're up and running again. No, these are green shirts. They're not purple. It's not me on the tennis courts unless it's a green shirt.
Awesome. I'm just asking some questions because I've seen more youth out there. That's why I'm asking. And I was
we would have a lot more youth out there because we teach the kids how to play on small courts, but we don't have the small courts. I mean, I've got caution tape out there. I've got big poles that I stick on the court and then haul all this stuff in my car. And the USTA, like I said, will pay 50% of the striping, and they will also buy me nets that I can haul back and forth in my car for these kids. And we're having a tournament this Saturday for these kids. There are 31 kids in the program.
Wow.
And we use 5 of your courts, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We're going to have a tournament, and I will be using caution tape and chalk, which is USTA chalk. It's not going to mark the courts up, and to mark out these courts for these young kids to start really playing tennis on courts that are their size. I mean, these are 6, 7, 8-year-old kids out there. So
amazing. It's an amazing program you're doing.
Thank you. I love it. But we need courts. We need the courts to be striped for these kids. And like, you've got 8 courts. We only want 2 of them, which are supposed to be kids' courts.
Yes, ma'am. We appreciate it. Let me talk with the commission. This is Jerry Alcorn. Let me talk with the other commissioners. Let us talk as a whole. Let us see where we would like to go with this. And I would love to reach back out to you or let you know what's going on, but we need to speak as a whole, and we can go from.
Okay, but I will be marking up the courts this Saturday, but the rain will come. The last time I did it, and then the rain came and wiped it away.
Can I ask you one question, ma'am? If you guys mark up the courts for the kids, is fine. Is there any way of cleaning the courts so that way it's fair and done? Not just
I don't. We'd have to work on that, but we probably could figure out something.
That would be much appreciated for the whole community. It would make it better for the whole community.
It would just be the 2 courts, 7 and 8.
Yes, ma'am. We appreciate it. It would just make a better impression on the whole community as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. I love the grassroots. I really do.
Well, thank you.
So that was an awesome presentation, everybody. Thank you, Ms. K. Any questions for Ms. K here? Anybody else have any questions? Michael, did I see your hand go up? You're muted, sir.
Sorry about that. This is a wonderful program. She's doing great work, and certainly we have to discuss this as a group as far as the feasibility of it. But she's very enthusiastic. She's hardworking. She's very committed to the program, and I just think that if we could entertain or somehow work something out to work with Kay and for the benefit of the kids of the community, I think it'd be a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I'm right there with it. If we can bring new programs into our city to help benefit all the city, youth, everybody, and for minimal amount, we can bring in and have all inclusive for everybody. I personally like it. Mr. Crawford, I see your hand is up, sir. Do you have a question, sir?
Yeah, just a quick comment.
Yes.
For me, I would like to see the courts. I think it's a great idea to get the youth involved. I think they've got some great programs going on. But for me, if we're gonna restripe the courts, I think that the court should be multi-purpose. There should be pickleball lines and tennis lines. I did a little research on this, and the nets are 36 inches high for both sports. Every basketball court I've ever played on, as I said before, is multi-purpose, it's multi-use. It has basketball, volleyball, badminton. Our field on Baristo and Pavilion is used for football and baseball. I just feel that, the tennis community needs to be a little more inclusive. And at Ruth Hardy, I don't think that, if we're going to be restriping these courts, it should be inclusive to everybody. It shouldn't just be for tennis. And but I like to also see us reach out to the underserved communities and get them involved in the youth program. It sounds really good. Like to see us reach out to the youth in the Demuth Park area, Desert Highland area, as well as the other underserved areas, and see if we could get them involved in those programs as well.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or concerns or comments? Susie, I see your hands up.
Yes, Kay, I just was curious, do you have any idea of estimated cost of the striping? I know you said that USTA would reimburse up to 5,000, but do you have a ballpark as to what the typical cost of 2 courts would be?
No, I have no idea. I just know that it's very, very few lines. Very few lines. No, I don't, but I could find out for 2 courts what it would be. No, I don't. It's not going to be that much because, like I said, it's not that many lines. It just makes the court smaller. That's all. And so
I see the director of facilities has her hand up. Let's ask the woman herself. Stacy.
I was just curious, do you have any renderings, or does the tennis association have a website or an example that we can see, a real life example of how this looks when it's done?
I can contact the president of the USTA or the Southern California Tennis Association and ask them, and they will give me all that information. And then I'll make sure you get it. Yes.
Please, ma'am. We're not trying to berate you. We're really trying to come at this to have all the information so we can either get it done for you or not get it done. It sounds like it's something that's feasible, but we just want to make sure it's not going to be crazy and overly. We just need to make sure everybody, all the, I's are dotted, T's are crossed, everything looks good.
Well, when you look at the little form here the little coaster that I gave y'all, if you really take a look at it, there's only one line that goes in the middle of no man's land. If you're a tennis player, you know what I'm talking about. There's one line which makes the court smaller for the 10 and under kids. And then that same line is used to make it for the 7 and 8-year-olds in the backcourt. There's not that many lines that would be added. It would just be enough that the kids would know what court is theirs and what court they need to play on.
Yeah, see, that's.
And by the way, I've been out there for 12 years.
No, this is awesome. We're all trying to make it all better for the whole community, and we're getting hit by 1,000 different directions. So it's not that your opinion and your thought isn't important to us. I fully appreciate it. We just want to be educated, know what's going on, what it's going to take, what it's going to happen, and we want to let our community know that we come at it correctly. We see a big issue between tennis and pickleball, restriping in general. So we want to make sure that if we do restripe a couple courts, it's done correctly, it's in budget, and it's approved.
I need to ask you a question now, because a few years ago, I have all the equipment for pickleball because I was teaching my young kids how to play pickleball because it helps them volley in tennis.
That's
It
awesome.
helps, because the paddle is small and the ball is big. And so the young ones could learn how to play pickleball. Then they could play tennis. And then I was told that couldn't teach pickleball out there, even in the classes that I was teaching. So I stopped using the pickleball paddle and the pickleball ball to teach with for the young kids. Is that still true? Can I see?
That was before my time. I don't know if there was a verbal agreement or what, I know Demuth Park is dedicated to pickleball. Ruth Hardy is
Yes.
dedicated to tennis.
But I was using pickleball to help the tennis with the kids, the young kids.
I fully agree with your style and what you're trying to do, and I understand it. But
Yes,
once again, people are looking at it from the outside, not knowing what's going on. This is what happens. So
I understand.
you're approaching the whole commission right now with a great opportunity, a great program that you're doing. We all need to digest it, talk about it, see if it's something the city wants to continue and go with. If we want to restrict the courts or invest in it, or just let you keep continuing the way it is. We have to talk about it and go from here. I feel it's a great way, what you're saying is fully understandable. The pickleball, that shouldn't be an issue. If it's your program, you're running the program, you paid to the city to run that program. You're a certified instructor. You should be able to do what you would like to do and do how you can do it. So if it helps benefit your kids, do it. I see the director has her hand up.
Yes.
So, I think the concerns about teaching, well, if you're doing a tennis course and you're a contracted tennis instructor, and you're teaching pickleball,
no,
that's not a big, like you're using the equipment. I think the only concern would be if you were restriping or putting down tape or doing anything to the courts. I think the court surface is like a hot topic. They don't want you.
No, I was not doing any of that. No, I was just using the paddle and the ball to have the kids hit it over the net. We don't touch the net. We don't touch anything.
Yeah. That's, so I think that I don't know if that's a concern, but the average bystander might go by and say, whoa, there's pickleball.
I know. That's why I stopped. I didn't want to have any confusion.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I find out how much it would cost to stripe these courts, just 2 courts, who do I send the information? Do I give it to Janet?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Because she can send the communication to the commission.
Okay. And then after we find out if it's doable, then I will make sure that we'll apply for the grant. And I understand it's going to be very easy for us to get a grant because it's not going to be that much to do to 2 courts.
I have a question about that. What is the deadline of the grant?
That I don't know. I was just heard the USDA president just told me about it a week ago when she knew I was going to be talking to y'all.
Okay. Yeah, so that would be something we would have to work on and like figure out if we wanted to be, we would need to be a partner in the grant essentially, because if you're getting grant funds to pay for something on city property, we would have a partner of some sort.
I'm sure they have all that worked out because they're just interested in getting tennis up and going again after the pandemic. So, and to help the tennis courts and get more kids involved in it.
That's great. Well,
Okay.
Kay, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your presentation, ma'am. I truly appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to digest it. We'll talk about it. And hopefully by next meeting, we can have some kind of outcome or notice for you and let you know what's going on.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye.
Bye now. All right, our next one, everybody, item number 3, action item is discussion of AMP grant. Our AMP grant is for the trees that's coming up.
Stacy, do you want to talk or do you want me to talk?
You can go ahead. You know it as well as I do. We need everybody out there with some shovels.
That's pretty much it. We need everybody out there with some shovels and gloves, and we are having a training, like I mentioned in my slideshow. I'll bring that back up real quick. What am I doing? Hold on.
Can I say something very quick too?
Please do.
Posted, if everybody's on Facebook, if you're on the Palm Springs neighborhood group, I posted the flyers on there as well as my private Facebook as well. Trying to get as many volunteers out as we can. We have 66 trees to plant in 3 different parks.
We have 20 more now.
I'm gonna be out there to help.
Ambitious.
Stacy is going to bring a tractor, right?
I'm gonna bring a tractor and an auger, but still we need the volunteer hours, and all these volunteer hours will be certified for any of the youth groups or community groups that need certification hours. We will be certifying all these hours.
Yeah, so Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, any of the Rotary, the Junior Rotary, all those kids groups that need school hours for college. It's a great program. It's going to be quick. It's going to start at 8, and we're going to have a kickoff event, have a fun little celebration at Desert Highland Park, and then disperse to the 3 parks, plant the trees, and then enjoy the shade for the summer. I see some hands up.
And tomorrow is the training, everybody, from 5:30 to 7.
Yeah, so catree.us/PS1 if you want to grab that web address. And that's just so you can get it's a virtual training. You don't have to go anywhere tomorrow. Just this is the pajama tree planting training. We've got some hands up there. Ellen and John have their hands
up. Okay, John, I'll go first if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Stacy, I was just wondering, the flyer says that bring your own shovels and something else, but I don't have a shovel.
I will bring you a shovel.
Okay, thank you.
And gloves just in case.
Okay, thank you.
Bring your own water bottle though.
Right on.
We're gonna have some snacks, I believe. I think there'll be some snacks, but yeah. John?
Have we reached out to the 1PS group about this program?
Yes. And
Yeah.
on Nextdoor and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Okay. I've talked to a few of my neighbors about it and they're like, wait, I have to shovel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pitched it as, look, you put a little bit of blood, sweat, and tears in your city, and in a couple years, you can, like, look, I planted that tree. That's my hard effort. 10 years from now, like, that's a huge, to me, that's a huge thing.
Agreed.
I don't know if people want to put the effort in, but it's,
if you can't shovel, maybe you can help drag a tree over to the hole, or
yes,
you can help bring some water to somebody.
Or register people. There's all kinds of opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. I'll let neighbors who don't want to shovel know that they could be useful.
Absolutely. 86 trees now. That's a lot.
Good job, Jerry.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. And the night, like you said, this is perfect because I have 2 trees in my front yard from Michelle Mycian. And they're beautiful desert willows. Well, one's a Charlie Brown tree, but the other one's beautiful. And it's so nice. I dug those holes and I planted those trees, and there they are right in my yard. And
that's what I'm talking about. Exactly.
So how nice would it be to say, there's my tree in Ruth Hardy Park or Victoria or Desert Highland Park that I planted. So come on out and stake your claim.
I love it. That's it.
All right.
Okay, so that's the AMP grant. Any questions on the AMP grant that's coming up? All right.
And Jerry, you're going to be there for the opening event, and then Johnny, you know?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, because we were going to have you guys say a couple of words.
Lined up to speak.
As a commission, please come to the kickoff, even if you can't plant a tree or can't stay. We would love for you to be there to help for at the.
You can't plant a tree. Come on, I'm disabled. I'm in a wheelchair half the time I'm planting trees. Come on now.
Jerry, I got your back, Jerry. I got your back.
No, I'm just playing. I got it. This would be great. All right, so our next one is, we're gonna be an update from the Pickleball Ad Hoc Committee. So this would be, I think this is Johnny, Ellen.
So would it be okay, hey, Michael, would it be okay if you kicked it off since you and Johnny were on the phone, and then Johnny and Jody and I will add information?
I will kick it off. I may at certain intervals have to pause and I would need someone to take over the helm, but I'll speak very quickly with regard to the meeting that I had with the group last week. The different areas that they had brought forth as far as areas of concern was groundskeeping. Also issues pertaining to decomposed grass surrounding the grounds. They cited that they were looking for regular cleaning of the courts, which would include sweeping and blowing. They inquired with regard to windscreens on the courts. They were concerned about safety issues on the courts. They would like sound barriers for the community. They said the fences could use windscreens. They like screens for wayward balls. Because there's situations whereby people are running into another's court to retrieve a wayward ball. Information with regard to the rotation of the courts. And again, there was discussion with regard to the previous white board that had been up and then was taken down. They had issues or expressed issues with regard to wanting to modify the policy with regard to the bracket caddy. There was a query with regard to the bathroom. They wanted to know if the old one was going to be staying there, but they were very pleased and happy about the new one coming. And their biggest concern was that they would like to see someone, and this has already been discussed at the meeting today, in the capacity of director for Parks and Recreation, that they extended their kudos to the folks on board now, to Jeannie. I just have to step away 1 second. Sorry about that. They extended their kudos to Jeannie, but I think they would like to see someone in place as a point person leading up the group that they could reach out to. So I just stated that, that was a work in progress. It's going to take some time, that the process was ongoing, and hopefully at some point in the reasonably near future, someone would be in place in the director's spot. In essence, I just went through the list very quickly, but in essence, that's the spirit of the ideas that they put forth during the meeting that I had with them last week. And I'll turn the floor back to whoever would like to pick up for the next point of interest.
Thanks, Michael. Johnny, you want to talk about what our site visit and what we learned when we were on site?
Yeah, Jody and Ellen and Michael met with some of the ladies there, and the biggest take on this whole project here is they need more pickleball courts, and so that's what we need to look for. We need to find a piece of property. We need to find a piece of land. We never came to a conclusion on exactly where. That's going to take a little bit of time, but I think just getting some more courts and just having keeping our ear open to the pickleball community would go a long way, and that was pretty much the gist of it. And Jody, Ellen, if you want to say something about that, what do you think?
Jody, you want to add anything?
Not really. It's pretty straightforward. Those minor upkeep should be should be fixed and taken care of immediately. That was kind of our discussion. That DG, the water runs, it runs out onto the court. It's a safety issue. It should not be there. The lights need to be taken care of. Put the wind, all those little things it should be done. Discussion, moving forward about building more courts, and the necessity, the need for it. Part of the discussion is maybe adding a couple more courts into Muth, and then I'm very strong in pushing for some courts in another park on the other side of town, perhaps, just to have people that live in different communities being able to access courts easier. So those are the things that we discussed standing there in person, as well as what Michael shared.
Thanks, Jody. And Stacy, why don't you have your hand up before we actually kind of pull it all together, because we would like to move an initiative forward. Maybe you can add something.
Well, I did want to ask, we had actually at one point had windscreens on there. We had removed them at the request of the pickleball court attendees because they like to watch. Is there, obviously there seems to be a change for that. So is there specific areas that we want them and not want them? I'm trying to understand the best way to move forward with that. And I did point out that we actually have, over the past several weeks and over a couple of months actually, increased the blowing and care of the courts. There already is a standing twice a month, every other Thursday, first and third Thursday of the month, we do the court cleanings, the power washing, etc. But there has been an increase now that we have a little more staff. We've been able to get up there more often and do the leaf blowing in the morning. But I really wanted some clarity on that issue. We can take care of it. I just need clear direction and on where we really want to go with that.
Thank you. One of the conversations we had, and I see Johnny's hand is up, around the wind screens was the northern area where the sunshades are, where the bleachers are, the northern fence, having it be half, just a half, the lower half, so that people who are sitting on the bleachers or standing could actually see over the windscreen, so that you secure all the other sides, your east, your west, and your south side. But on the north side, have it be reduced so it doesn't interfere with the line of the eyesight. Right, Johnny?
That's it.
And
on the money.
In the north side too, where people line up and stand?
The north side, that is correct. That would be half, right?
Okay.
The north side, which faces Mesquite.
Okay, so half on the north, half on the west, and then full on the south and east?
Full on southeast and west.
Yep.
Full on the three sides. So your east and west, full windscreens. On the south side, full windscreen. And on the north side, just a portion.
Okay, perfect. We can do that.
Like half, yeah.
Thank you.
Stacy, I don't know if that concrete block wall on the south side is going to necessitate a windscreen. I'm not sure if those.
We will probably put up, I had already kind of kicked around the idea of maybe putting up a construction fence, construction netting along there anyway during their construction. So it's going to be a double barrier, which I think is probably good for dust control and whatnot.
Yep. Good idea.
And thank you, Stacy. Really appreciate it. And then I think just to wrap this up, all of the technical enhancements or necessities, I think we're all in agreement. They should absolutely happen as quickly as possible. They're really kind of quick wins, quick fixes. They'll accommodate the courts, will create more safety. They're not unreasonable. And if it requires us to make a motion and ask the commission to vote on that so that we can actually move it forward to create a directive for staff, then I would like to know that we can do that tonight. Stacy's shaking her head yes. Jeannie, is that something that I think we discussed it on Thursday?
Well, I think we're all in agreement that that we would like to have improvements. So I don't think it's an issue, but if you want to formalize it, please do. That's fine.
I think having very clear defined goals from the commission will go a long way as we move forward to council and ask for funding on a lot of these things.
Got it. And so I think what we need to do is in that initiative, we need to put down exactly what it is. And so if somebody has a list, Michael, I don't know if you wrote down a list from the conversation, but we know it is the wind screens. We know it is the removal of the gravel and putting down a ground cover that will reduce the dust and the water runoff, which is on the north side, the lighting, increased sweeping and maintenance. Johnny, what else did we have? There was 4, which Stacy said she's been increasing. So those are 3.
I think that was it. Facility, no.
You know, I think one of the things I'll share, and I know this just, I'm going to just kind of go back to dog park. One of the things that the dog park community did was they surveyed, they got over 200 surveys, and really it's as populated as the pickleball courts. And the one topic that we're getting some mixed messages on is really, at least I'm getting mixed messages on, is the rotation of players in and out of the courts, and if courts should be designated as a beginner court, an intermediate court, and an advanced court. So there aren't a lot of courts, and these are self-rules. These are self-made rules that they want to put down a player's level, right? So I can't use the Western courts because those are for advanced players, and I might be a beginner. So I have to sit and wait for a court to open up on the beginner side. And I do think we're getting some mixed messages. I think some people agree with it. Some people don't agree with it. And then the whiteboard versus your paddle. So I think those 2 things would be very helpful. Maybe Johnny and Michael, Jody, we should ask Mary and David to start a survey. So we, or, you know, maybe somebody who's neutral, you know, start a survey to get some clarity on that.
Well, it's, Ellen, we could do that at the city level and do a, you know, a Google form survey that would be, you know, we want to hear from you, because we want what the players want, but we also, there's the confusion over, well, am I a beginner or am I intermediate? And then chaos ensues on the court. So there's just there's so much to you know, to decide, you know, like who's to say that you know, I think I'm intermediate, and then if people laugh at me and go, oh, that's a beginner, you know, go down there. So you know,
well, it happens with every racket sport. It happens with every sport, and tennis seems to be able to make it work at Ruth Hardy, and pickleball will be able to make it work. But Michael, I don't think Ruth Hardy has a rotation system based on certain, and when I say rotation system, are certain courts designated for certain levels of play at Ruth Hardy that you know of?
To the best of my knowledge, with regard to Ruth Hardy, there isn't a special designation. I could be wrong, but you know, my belief is that there isn't a special designation. So that's the way they've been operating in times past.
they are.
I mean, it's so busy. The pickleball area is so busy, and it will take 2 years before this city puts in new courts, because that's just the lifeline of city government and building things. Look at our bathrooms are a really good example. That to remove courts for players, right? When I say remove courts, if you have courts that are designated for experienced players, it really takes those courts out of play for everybody else. And there's just all different levels that show up to play. So I don't know. I'm feeling like if Ruth Hardy can make it work with tennis, why can't pickleball make it work for pickleball?
So the I have pictures of Ruth Hardy tennis courts, because this is how I researched. And there are courts that are reserved for children, but adults defer, you know, so if children show up, and then adults have to leave, but they don't have advanced courts or anything like that either. So we want we want our courts to be as inclusive as possible. And if, just imagine 12 courts of beginners all show up and you just have to sit there and say, well, that court's just sitting empty. Why can't I go play on that empty? It's the same shape, size, and texture and everything.
Right, that's their biggest, that was the biggest feedback that we got, is that courts would be sitting empty. And I do think having more, equity and inclusion is super important. Jerry, what do you think, Chairman, as you're listening to all this?
Well, I'm all about the inclusion and having everything work for everybody. I don't want to eliminate one sector of it. I'm with you, Alan. Honestly, I agree. It's funny how the tennis community can make tennis work, and pickleball seems to be up in the air. I think the community needs to work this one out themselves, personally. But what do you, Jody? Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I played 4 sports in high school, and in college I played 2. Every court that I've ever played on has been lined for all sports to be able to be played on them and to be adapted so that, if I'm on a court, it's got basketball lines on it, it's got volleyball lines on it, it's got whatever lines that need to be, that a sport would be played. I know that's going to twist everybody, but if they were all lined, then they could be used if there was nobody on them. I know that that's not usually the case, but that's a comment I wanted to add.
Okay, thank you. We're actually talking about levels, the levels
I
of
know
players.
that, but I want to throw that in there before it gets overlooked and bypassed. And again, if it's a beginner level court, if we're going to designate it as a beginner level court, but there's nobody on it, I don't see why you couldn't use it. However, if I'm a beginner and I walk up, how do I know? I mean, I could tell by watching you play. I don't really know. On their boards, the whiteboard issue, putting a board up, taking a board down, do you write so-and-so, Jody beginner, and, as soon as the games are done on the court and those people are experts, but they're playing on the beginner court because there were no beginners, then they need to get off. I don't know. Do we pay a staff member a stipend or something to be over there to monitor the courts during the heaviest hours? I don't know.
Wow. Okay, so here's, I'm going to make a recommendation. I'm going to make a recommendation that we survey pickleball people. So Jeannie, thank you very much for offering the Google form. We could very easily put zip ties and the paper we did at the dog park with the QR code and the link, because some people might not be able to access QR codes. Give them 2 weeks or 10 days to fill it out, and simple questions around the levels of the court levels. That should it be all inclusive, or should they be designated? And also around the whiteboard versus the paddle system. I mean, if the whiteboard was working for them, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't use a whiteboard. Personally, I think all the courts should be inclusive. I would hate to visit a city and show up at a public park and be told this area is for experienced people and this area is for beginners. I would feel very strange.
Yeah, it's usually for paid private clubs you go to, not a city facility.
Yeah. And then I would like to put a motion on the table to move all of the upgrades to the pickleball courts forward. And those upgrades would include lighting, the wind screens. Thank you, Johnny. And the DG and gravel, that ground cover be changed to something to prevent the runoff from the water onto the courts. So those 3 things: the lighting, the wind screens, and on the north side of the courts, the ground covering, so that we reduce the amount of runoff onto the courts.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Jody.
And I'll third it if we need it.
So do we need to, yeah, say, let's do a motion to approve. Everybody approve, I mean, we gotta do a roll call vote, I get, because this has been brought up, so let's go from there, because motion to move this forward to get all the, I don't know how to word this, say basic maintenance on the courts upkeep and going, make the pickleball facility good until we get the major upgrade that council wants to go with. This would be a good
So
start.
the motion would be to recommend upgrades to the court, including lighting, windscreens, and an alternative to the DG gravel
On the north side.
around the court.
And some
And then-
kind of board system, whether it's a whiteboard, some kind of reservation system.
No, I wouldn't include that in the motion.
No.
What my suggestion is let's survey the people, because right now, honestly, when we were there physically on site, we heard one thing. And then the selected individuals who are joining our subcommittee or our ad hoc committee, they're saying something else. So we're getting two different stories around the courts level of play. We're getting different stories around whiteboard from what the city wants and what the community wants. And so I think we should survey them. Then we can bring that back, aggregate the data, and come forward with the next steps.
Sounds good. I'm surprised nobody's made an app for that yet. Surprised nobody's made a freaking app for the cities yet for that. How come nobody's made an app for this? This is
It's
crazy.
called ActiveNet. I think we have one.
I've never heard of it. We should have a
Well-
reservation system on that.
Well, we have a reservation system called ActiveNet, but we don't have courts on there for reservations, but.
So Jeannie, can you do a roll call so we can take votes? Or Dieter has his
Yes.
hand up.
I will, but I wanted to make sure there weren't, you had discussion or anything like that.
Dieter has a comment.
Yeah, I got a comment on this one. I'm like Jody and like Jerry. I've been playing pickup sports all my life. I don't know why the pickleball community can't figure out who's on the court, who's what, how it goes. That's very weird to me, and I just wanted to add that.
Loving on
Thank you,
Dee.
sir.
That's funny.
So do you want your motion to include the recommendation for us to do a survey?
That's great. So we'll also have the motion include the recommendation for the survey.
Okay. Right. You all ready for a roll call?
Dieter, do you have another comment or is your hand just?
No, my hand is just still up. I'll lower it now.
Okay, thanks. Just want to make sure everybody's heard.
Okay, here we go. So we'll do it in the way it was motioned. So Commissioner Goodman,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Chair Alcorn,
Yes.
Vice Chair Coladonato,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawford,
Yes.
Commissioner Finland,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morelia.
Yes.
Okay. All approved.
And Jeannie, you have so much history with the city. Even though I know people are going to welcome a new Parks and Recs director, probably you as well. It's very nice having somebody who has so much historical knowledge and can actually get us some answers. So I actually appreciate you being at the table.
Thank you. I think I've been with the city 9.5 years now. So I'm an experienced city leader. Thank you.
Awesome. So that's been approved. That's, thank you for the ad hoc committee. Ellen, thank you for all the work. Johnny, everybody else, Michael, that's been a part of that. Jody, thank you. We move that forward, so that'll be sent to city council. Hopefully we get that approved and get it done for them. That would be awesome. On to our next item is discussion of land evaluation, disc golf proposal. So I don't know if all you commissioners are aware, we got an email from a gentleman that's local here that does disc golf. And he's trying to expand his reaches. He recently looked at Sunrise Park and sent us an email regarding, this possibility of having 9 holes, 8-hole disc golf course in Palm Springs, which one of our commissioners have reached out to the gentleman so we can have a meeting, try to meet and discuss this with him a little farther. Me personally, looking at the thing, I haven't seen disc golf since I came from Huntington Beach, so it would be cool to see something new out here, which would be awesome. But we'd have to sit down just like everything else and go through the process, make sure it can fit into our park, because the way he has it laid out in Sunrise, he's not aware of, expansion of different things, pedestrian safety, walking paths. So I applaud and I love the new push to get new programs and new things here in the city. We need it. That's what we're all about. We just need to go about it smartly and be safe about it too. That's what I have on that. Anybody else have anything to bring up on the disc golf?
Did you say disc golf?
Yes, ma'am. Disc golf. It's Frisbee Golf.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That's fun.
Yeah, and
That's more my game.
Yeah, he's a good gentleman. They have a good program going on in the east end of the valley. They're trying to expand and make some more courses, and it looks great. And he took Sunrise Park and did a nice layout on top of it. But unfortunately, he's unaware of like different expansions. Like we're looking to do library, upgrades, different expansions with parking. So it wouldn't work necessarily what he had laid out. But I'd love to see us pursue having new, a new curricular activity in here. Any of these parks would be great to have it. Dieter, once again, I see your hand up. Susie, I see your hand too. Sorry, Susie, I saw Dieter's first. You got a comment, sir?
Let Susie go. It's all good.
Thank you, brother. Susie.
Thank you. I'll keep it quick. Is there, because this is sort of the second thing that's sort of been brought to us that's like a program, is there some way that we as the commission, or maybe, Jerry, you and I as a subcommittee for Sunrise Park, can come up with kind of like a form response for these, not form response for these people, but a set of criteria that we can respond to these people and say, the city has a call for proposals every year between January 1st and 30th. Here's the kind of information that the city would want to consider. If you want to reformulate this and come back and visit it at that time, then we might be able to better serve you. I'm happy to take that on if you want, or if someone else has already done it, then that would be great. But I'm just thinking this is the second time someone's come with like a really great idea and a lot of good energy. And we basically have to be like, no, sorry. But it's not for lack of, wanting more programs. But if we just say, here's this framework that exists, maybe, you guys can approach it that way.
That's a great suggestion. That's a great solution too, that's exactly what keeps happening is people have these awesome ideas and they just don't know what's in the pipeline and what's in the works. So yeah. Is there any, I don't know of anything that's already out that anybody's doing for us. I see 2 hands up right now. Dieter and Janine. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Dieter, go ahead.
Yeah, just want to say, the disc golf is already being played in Sunrise Park. I witnessed a group of middle-aged men playing in Sunrise Park one morning while I was working out there on the damaged pull-up bars that we have by the Boys and Girls Club. And it seemed to be like they were having fun. They kind of had the stuff already set out.
That's cool.
My only concern was being hit by the frisbees. I think it's a good idea though, but like you said, Jerry said it has to work in with our planning for the park. But I kind of saw them out there doing it. I'm not sure who presented this idea to us, but I do know one of the community members that was playing it and is pretty active. His name is Jacob Yusuf. His family has been here in the community for a while, and he was out there actually playing, but not sure. It seemed like they were already doing it. So I'm not sure what the rules are, what's going on, if they had the baskets. how they placed them there or what was going on, but they were definitely playing Frisbee golf.
Yeah. Janine? Yes, ma'am.
So I would say that this the sport, it can be mobile. I think they're to make it more a permanent installation. And to Susie's comment, that's something that I noted. I think that this department really needs is some structure as far as the scheduling of ideas, and not just the newest idea is the one that we do. It's that we have a plan and a strategy and a budget
And a protocol.
for programs like this, because it is great. This is a great program, but maybe it is better served at a different place, or maybe it can be something that's portable, that's in, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, it does look like fun. I would probably hit somebody who's walking by, but I think that that's something that if this were my department, that's how I would do it. At the library, we plan a year in advance. So we plan our year, and then we appropriate budgets to go along with those programs. And then we see what we can add. And if we don't have the capacity, staffing to manage, this department needs a park attendant. I think they need somebody like that's seriously stands out there with a little tablet and checks them into court 1, and okay, here you go, your time's up. Like they need to dedicate some staffing to that. Programs like this, we've got proposals for all kinds of new programs, and they're great. But yeah, how do we manage that, and how do we maintain it? And then how does Stacy's department maintain a new program? And we need a big park for that. We need like a big open field. That'd be a great thing in this new unimagined park that you all are going to develop.
I know it's in the pipeline. I had that when I spoke with Justin months ago, that this is all in the pipeline, but it's.
Yeah, so I like that idea of having a strategy where, and right now we're in budget prep. So January would be a great month for people to submit proposals for the coming fiscal year, or to add new programs or something like that. I think some structure would be great on this, because yeah, this is a wonderful program, and they put a lot of effort into developing this presentation to send to us. And then, like you said, we're like, well, it's not really a good time.
Yeah. So how do we go about that? Do we get it? Like, how do we do it? Because we're voluntary staff.
I know. I think it's more, I think it may be more staff level or city level, where maybe it's possible. I mean, maybe it's a combination of both. Stacy turned on her camera. She might have an idea.
I just want to echo what you were saying about, I really do think there needs to be a court liaison or a court steward. I understand the thought process of, well, all the other sports can figure it out, let them figure it out. That doesn't seem to be happening. So I think, there probably is some value, at least for now, for us to help, just minimize the frustration level, get that moving forward. And as for the new programs, I love the idea of it, but again, we're talking about expansions and where we're going to put new pickleball courts and where we're going to put new dog parks. And, we've tried for 2 new parks in the last few years, and we're, already in a kind of hurry up and wait for those. So I think for this group and for staff, I'd really like us to focus right now. I'd like direction on what are we going to do with the resources we have, and let's focus on the upgrades, on what's right in front of us, and what our citizens and our visitors are after. And, obviously as a commission, you're there on the front lines hearing it every day. So that's the value that I need to take away from this for my budget and for my immediate future.
Stacy, that was just so well said. And we need about 2 acres for Frisbee golf or disc golf. And if they want to rent one of the parks, for a pickup game or something like that, or a tournament, great, they could do the queue. But I appreciate you saying, you know, right now we haven't solved some of the issues that we have with some of the programs and the parks. And before adding new ones, and I would play, I'll be the first to be on the grounds to play Frisbee golf. But I would say, I think dog park and pickleball and trying to make sure that our north side has the programs that they deserve, I think is really important.
I agree with you guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to choose my choice of words here correctly without, just trying to choose my choice of words here correctly.
Is it possible for them, Jerry? Is it possible for them to have like pickup games and rent the parks like other people do? I mean, there's plenty of space in Ruth Hardy if they want to rent it. And
Of course there is. Yeah, of course there is. We've reached out. We sent them email asking if we'd like to meet, meet with the subcommittee. Hopefully we can get a meet back with them, just to feel, see where they're at. It would be great, once again, just to have something else in here, but they don't know, we don't know. We just got to see what they're trying to do. So I was hoping they would get a hold of us before then. I sent them an email. I know Chris has sent them an email. We just haven't got a response back from them. But yeah, they can rent the park, or they can rent, a space. They can say, hey, I'm taking this court up, this grass area. Just like anybody else. Or, honestly, when it comes down to it too, if it's a group of local people that want to play a game in a local park, do they really got to rent it? That's my other question too, is we're going to go play for an hour. Like, you're a local, I wouldn't have to rent a park to go play. You would think like that too. Jody, yes, ma'am.
So, we used to call it Frisbee Golf back in the day. They set up stands, like little nets, and they play it like, you got par, you got to try to get so many tosses to get the Frisbee into the little net. Then they would set like up a course around the park. And I think, when me and my son want to go play pickup basketball, we just go to the park and play and join in with whoever's there. When kids wanted to play soccer or softball or volleyball, you go to the park and play. You don't have to get a reservation. So I'm with you on that. If they're looking to sign up like youth things, if they're looking to teach the youth how to play and have youth things, that's a different ball game, where we would go through Parks and Recs, to get the flyers approved and to get this stuff out there and to get a location and a reserve space. So again, but they certainly don't need a reservation to go play in the park.
So anybody else have anything on this disc golf? Okay. With that being said,
Jerry, I'll just say that we'll keep this in our back pocket, for future program ideas.
Thank you. Yeah, because I've reached out to them, sent them an email. Hopefully they can approach us. Yeah, just like that. I mean, we'll talk. It's the beginning stages. So reports and updates, section 5 is reports and updates from ad hoc committees. I think we pretty much did all those, but is there any ad hoc committees I have missed that have a report or update? All right. At this portion of the meeting, we're going to open up for commissioner comments. This portion of the meeting is set aside for brief general comments of issues or concerns for members of the commission, items for further meetings. So this is your time to lay stuff out and something on the next meeting. Anybody have any questions or comments? Jody, do I see your hand up?
Yep. I don't know if it was addressed. We did receive a communication, I think it was today that it actually got sent to me, about the gentleman having issues with the dog park and the lack of response from the city whatsoever about his emails or his calls. And so I just would really love to request somebody to reach out to that gentleman like tomorrow and give him some answers or have some communication or listen to his concerns firsthand, please.
Stacy did reach out to him today and has been in communication with him about the issues that he.
I've been talking to Tim almost every other day for several weeks now.
She's working on it. Anybody else have any comments or anything? Ellen, I see your hand. Sorry, your hand up? Yes.
Yeah, Johnny's was up before mine, so
Go ahead,
I'll
go ahead,
let
Alan.
him.
You go
Okay.
first.
Okay, one, thank you. Great meeting. Lots of good stuff. I really like what Susie said about like a decision tree, like some sort of process. And so I really encourage folks to work on that. Susie, whoever you'll partner with, thank you for offering. I think that would really kind of help us. And I don't know if it's possible, Jeannie, if you could do a little digging on this Demuth Park, the dog park grant. In my experience with grants, this grant is dead. It's done. It was submitted 3 years ago, and nobody can find it, and nobody's heard of it, and we're not really sure. And so I wanted just some resolve around that.
I have it, but
great.
We don't have an answer. So
well, will you be able to report back next month where it is in the process? If it's still sitting with the federal government or the state government, where is it? What do we need to do to mobilize that a little? Because the city right now is waiting for that. And honestly, I think for the 1.5 million that they've allocated for that match, I'd say do away with the grant if we're just going to sit for years waiting for it. And let's take the 1.5 million and do something with the park. But I'm really curious to know, is it with state? Is it with federal? What department? And who can we call to find out what the status is? That would be really helpful.
So the status that I have right now, I will follow up on that because I'm irritated just as much as you are about that.
Yeah, thanks.
The state did recommend that the federal government approve this grant. The city did a lot of work on this, community meetings. They agreed to deed restrictions. All of these things they did. There's like land evaluations that they had to do because it formerly tribal land, I believe. So there were a lot of things that they had to do. The state recommended approval, and the last I heard, which about a month ago, was that it was still pending with the federal government. So I will check because I agree with you, and our grant consultant recommended that we not apply for another grant with them, the land water conservation grants. They recommended that we not do a second grant while this one is still outstanding because they didn't want to confuse the situation. So that's where we are. We're still waiting on this one. But yes, I agree with you.
Right.
We all want to know.
I mean, if we can even find out what department in the federal government, if it's land management or wherever it is, and let's lobby a congressman, or someone and see if they can help us. So I would be more than willing to make those calls. So thanks for that. That's all, Jerry. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else? All right, can I get a motion to close at this time? For our next meeting, let me go through everybody. That looks like our
Jerry.
You have some hands up, Jerry.
Dieter, yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to echo the sentiment about the director position. I did do a little reaching out to the Palm Springs Unified School District about the tennis courts and stuff like that. And I was told that Mr. Ventura, he's been trying to reach out to us and they can't get a hold of anyone since Cynthia is not around. Kind of echoing the same thing that last that email that we've gotten. So just want to kind of echo that. And then I want to talk about the Whitewater Park. So the city owns vacant land up by Sunrise that was deeded as a condition of approval for the Miralon project to be used as parkland through Quimby Park fees. And the developer chose to dedicate the land in lieu of paying the fees. In the past, we applied for Prop 68 grant funds. We weren't awarded. I just want to say, why do we have to wait for the grant from the state to build a park for this community? We have plenty of Measure J funds. We've got a $130 million city budget. Can we at least plant some grass on that property and give the residents a place to recreate? And then also, last but not least, I went to the downtown park over the President's Day weekend on February 21st, and the restrooms were kind of in a little bad shape. So just want to make sure that we're maintaining those. One of the toilets were a little flooded, and then there was no soap in the dispensers and things of that nature.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford.
Yeah, Chair, can I just follow up something? Hey, Dieter, if you want to just shoot me a message, a text message, or send me an email, I will contact Mike Ventura. I'm not really quite sure what you were wanting to chat with him about, but I would be more than happy to get through to him for you.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to reach them too. I'm trying to reach the school too.
Yeah, that came from Mr. Ventura. We reached out with Shelly Saunders to see if we could get them to use the tennis courts, and Mr. Ventura said that he's been trying to get a hold to the city and he can't get a hold of anyone.
Got it. So Jeannie,
I'm
if
right
you want to
here.
send me your either your cell phone or your direct extension, and I'll get Mike to reach out to you.
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk to them too, because we had a community member reach out and ask about the walking tracks. And we were trying to figure out what was going on with that. Because they were mentioning things that we didn't understand what they were asking, but we want to talk to the school too.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Johnny, I see your hand up. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't have my glasses on. It's hard for me to see all the hands up right now, so I apologize for missing them.
That's all right, buddy. Great meeting. Well done, everybody. This is kind of more for Stacy and the ball fields once again. We had a couple guys get injured over the weekend. One because of the batter's boxes. The week before, we had the girls softball out there. And with those cleats that they have, they really tore some holes into the ground. And the guys did a great job, but because that dirt is so soft, we just need boxes that have clay in them. We get so much play on all these fields out here. We need boxes that can withstand people digging in them. That's number one. That's a big thing that we've had. We need to get that thing fixed. All the boxes and all the fields. The second thing is the Gophers in the outfield, especially fields 5 and 6, 5, 6, and 7, and 8. It's pretty bad out there, man. I've got tons of pictures showing mounds of dirt out there. And then I had a guy twist his ankle just on Saturday. And I get a lot of heat from those guys when I'm out there because of that. So I don't know if it's conserved, Stacy, or who does the outfield, but we need to figure something out just to get rid of some of them Gophers, or at least filling them holes somehow.
It is conserved. It is part of our landscape contract. Not only there, we also have the same issue at Ruth Hardy, and it's very bad up at JOJ as well.
Okay.
They are daily. They do have people out with the little small spades and shovels trying to refill those holes. They've done as much as we can. Again, we have a lot of pets, a lot of children. So we have to be very careful in the measures that we take. They are being as aggressive as they can while still maintaining safety for all of the participants. As far as the clay, we definitely have clay. We can add more clay. We could try to beef that up a little bit. I thought we had just added some, but
you did. You added some clay, and the fields are top. I'm telling you, they're fantastic. It's just the batter's boxes.
Okay.
Especially when we have tournaments. And then when the girls and the baseball guys get in there, they have different cleats than what we wear. They have spikes. We don't wear steel cleats. They do. And it just tears it up. So then we go, your guys do a good job, but there's just no way of fixing a hole, even by putting compacted dirt down in clay, because those boxes are just too deep. And I can take picture after picture, but I know there's an inexpensive way to put clay in there, clay bricks. And then we put dirt on top of that and water it. And that way it'll stay compacted on both sides. It's always the right-hand side because there's more righties than lefties.
Okay, we can look into that.
Awesome. Awesome.
Finally, one last thing, there's a Madonna tribute concert this Wednesday at 7 PM at the downtown park.
I think it's Elton John.
No,
Is it
Madonna.
I like them both, man. That's cool. Bring me back to my 80s.
Yeah, free concerts, downtown park.
So anybody, one other question, and this is just for me, and I'm not trying to drag this on. I know this is for Don. I know he's not here. We're supposed to be laser leveling JOJ's ball field. If we got a horrible rodent infestation there, aren't we just wasting money by laser leveling a field and having it torn up again? I'm not, it needs to be done. I mean, JOJ needs everything done there. All the parks do, but just why spend the money?
Yeah.
And it'd be
I would
torn-
say that it will be helpful, no matter what. It's better than what it is right now.
It's that bad. Okay, I didn't know. I haven't been on the actual field. Okay, cool. So at this time then, our next meeting is going to be March 28th, 2020 at 5:30 on via Zoom. Anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns or burning desires?
And at this point, we were told we're still virtual until we are told otherwise.
Yes, ma'am. So via Zoom until we get told by the boss. Can I get a motion to close?
Motion.
Ellen and Johnny. Thank you.
That's right.
everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Good job. Good
Bye, you
job, Jerry.
guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Great
Bye-bye.
job. Good job,
Thank you.
Jerry.